On this episode of Delivering Marketing Joy, I talk with Sam Wiley about how his company changed from making supplements to hand sanitizer to help during the pandemic. Hey there, and welcome to a brand new edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hasseman, and joining me today is a brand new guest. It's brand new to the show, but it's funny. We're actually, 2-3 blocks away from one another, from the same town here in Coshocton, Ohio. He is the CEO of Wiley's Finest. It's a subsidiary of the Wiley Companies. Sam Wiley, thanks so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I've seen companies take all kinds of different strategies during this pandemic, during this crisis, and some have shifted to try and help, some have shut down. There's been kind of all over the place. It kind of feels like your strategy was to try and look for ways to help. So can you talk about what Wiley has done with like hand sanitizer and those sort of things?
Sure. Well, first off, just like everybody, us trying to get our arms around sort of, hey, what happened? What's the information? We started March out with our expectation that we would go to our largest industry trade show. It's the largest natural products show in the world. Typically about 80,000 people go to Anaheim, California. And it's a funny story because the very first Monday in March, you're waking up to the show's still on. The organizers have told you we're still having the show, even though many people are not coming. And we were sort of scrambling to because some of our team said, listen, we're not comfortable going, and that's fine. And a lot of our road warriors are saying, we go through airports, we're in contact with people, we don't care, we'll just go. And then by the time we had our new plan built, by the end of that Monday, I was sitting down after dinner to try to just relax for a second. And I'm reading my email, and the show organizer said, the show is canceled. It's officially canceled. And I'm going, what? So then I spent the next day trying to deal with the sheer, and of course they don't use the word canceled because that triggers all sorts of contractual things. They say postponed. Yeah. But, so for instance, our UK sales director, he had to come in a day early because he flew from London, and he lands in Anaheim, and he's checking his email when his phone sort of, activates from international travel. And it's like, oh yeah, you're the show is postponed. There's no reason for you to have flown 14 hours to be here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that was such a weird time. Funny that you talk about this, and I know we'll get back on topic, but it was the same thing. I was actually going to speak at a couple conferences, and the whole time it's like, is it happening? Is it happening? Is this not happening? And it was just like everything switched. It felt like in the span of about 12 to 18 hours.
Yeah, really quick. I mean, I was at a conference in Barcelona in Spain in early February, and I remember talking to the guy that runs this very prestigious scientific conference called ISFAL. Okay. And he's the secretary, and it's a bunch of professors and research people, and it's a very nerdy conference. And he said, "Oh, we're not having the ISFAL conference in Qingdao in June." And I remember just thinking, man, I don't know, Peter. I think that's kind of crazy. Like, really? In early June, you're going to cancel it already? He's like, yeah, we're not going to have it. That sounds crazy to me. And then I, flash forward, 8 weeks later, and I was thinking, boy, Peter was he
was on it.
Great foresight. It tells you a scientist is paying much more attention than the rest of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then, as we moved into mid-March, and we started seeing, a spike in consumer goods, the panic buying, supplements, hand sanitizers, and we make fish oil supplements. They're good for general immune health, but they are not an immune health category supplement. So, they're in that category of stuff that like has a positive impact on your immune system, but they're not a supplement people take for like acute immune support, not like a vitamin C or an echinacea or, a vitamin D or something like that. I mean, we have formulas with vitamin D, but most of those products don't have on-pack claim, that says supports immune health, even though the nutrient does, but it's not on pack, right? So, so our sales are going okay in March, up over prior year, but the immune category is 300 or 400% up, and supplement oils is like 30% up, and we're going, well, this is great, but it's not gonna last forever. So my brother Dan, who is CEO of our ingredients division, it's our larger parent corp, the larger Wiley Co business, he says, hey, we should make hand sanitizer. I talked to, so he had talked to some of the local government folks in Coshocton, including the mayor, and said, how can we help? I said, well, gosh, if we could get hand sanitizer, we're all out. And we talked about that, and it was like, this is not really what we do. We're not really set up for that. And hand sanitizer is an OTC drug. It's regulated by the FDA. So, we typically, there's a lot of registrations and a lot of facility setup, and your quality management system has to be designed for OTC drugs. But I think it was maybe Friday, March 20th, that FDA published emergency guidance that said, hey, if you make this very special recipe and you don't deviate from the recipe, we'll let you make hand sanitizer.
Okay.
And that came out, and, I think it was maybe Saturday morning, my brother was like, hey, it's still getting this thing. Like, why don't we make hand sanitizer? And our R&D director was like, hey, did you see the FDA publish this updated guidance? And I said, okay, well, if we want to make sanitizer to support local communities, first responders, people that are out like that, because the best thing to do is to wash your hands, right?
Right.
Soap and water. But soap and water is impractical. Like if you're a cop and you're out on the road, or you're an EMT and you're trying to clean your ambulance and keep your hands clean, that's not very practical.
Right.
So I said, if we want to make this, we kind of got to we got to work on it tonight, like Saturday night. Like this is going to take, like I run the CPG business. I mean, I got, products that products like this, a lot of Wiley Co stuff goes into a drum, or a tanker. And, when we take a product like Catch Free Omega, I mean, it takes a lot of work to put all the components together and the labels and all the stuff. And I'm going, well, we gotta get this going. Like this takes time. Like if we at a dead run can get this done in say 2 weeks, we'll be happy.
Right.
So that was fun. So I think we made about 10,000 bottles and donated that out to local community area. And I think we distributed it to about a 5-county area to health departments and first responders. And then we started to get basically a lot of direct requests. So you like a nursing home, or maybe, I don't know, the folks at Echoing Hills or something like that would call us and say, can you send us a case? Right. And that was interesting. We gave it all away. And we also, so thinking about this from a marketing perspective, of course, it's always, you're trying, if you're doing good in your community, I guess you don't want to beat your chest too loudly. Because, it's kind of a balance. Like, well, those guys only did it so they could get the press. We did it probably more because it was a fun adventure and we thought it would help people.
Well, that's cool though. So, I mean, I'm curious to know, like, based on that sort of adventure that you talked about, what are some takeaways? What are some lessons that you took in kind of making that transition?
Well, so I think the big takeaway we had was making our community more broader than just our geographic community. So when we thought about, I think about the first 75% of our production output went to geographically, the 5-county area in Coshocton County and around us where our employees live. But we allocated quite a bit to go directly to Wiley's Finest independent retail customers, to stores.
That's cool.
And we didn't actually know, or we didn't think stores would want it. And we had no idea. So, because, they have their own stocks and their own supply chains, and we're not in that business. And,
right.
We sell fish oil, we sell vegan essential fatty acids, that sort of stuff. So getting to that, so we had our sales manager start call independent stores, and, we got retailers in upstate New York or Florida, Southern California. And, some of these customers have done business with us for, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And we started calling them, and our sales manager said, do you know when you're on the phone with somebody and you can hear them stand up? And he goes, totally. That's what I got like all day. Cause it would be like, hey, Wiley's just going to send us a whole case. Yeah.
It goes back to the idea that I love what you said about, like, when you're doing good, it isn't like you're trying to beat your chest, but the reality of it is, we talk about it all the time. Like, if you push out good and do good for customers, do good for people, it comes back around, right? I mean, it sounds like that was sort of the response you guys got.
Absolutely. And I mean, most of our retailers said, yeah, but what's the catch?
That's right. I mean, people are not used to it. You just being kind.
Well, because people are calling, from their perspective, people, profiteers are calling them and going, hey, we got this stuff. It's available. It's $50 a gallon.
Yeah. Or
$100 a gallon, and we're just like, well, hey, we'll send you a case of quart bottles, and we'll just here you go. It's free. I hope it helps. We don't know what else to do.
Well, I love that. I think that's super cool. And I think that, when you have the opportunity to be generous in that way, I talk about that a lot, that it does come back. And you're right. I think people don't believe it. They're waiting for the other shoe to drop because people take advantage sometimes. And so kudos to you guys. So real quick, a final question for you. Do you guys plan on doing this as a new product area down the road? Or are you just like, dude, I can't wait to get back to normal business? What's your perspective on that?
So, I mean, it's definitely piqued our interest in maybe a category we don't normally work in. And we've certainly learned, I mean, the great thing about any of this kind of stuff is you're learning a new, category, new stuff that you've never thought about before. The stuff that we made on a short-term basis, and a lot of other manufacturers who handle large quantities of ethanol, which is one of the approved disinfectants. A lot of manufacturers in our category, globally, I mean, people in our industry trade group globally have diverted to make hand sanitizer. But what we bottled was basically like the emergency World Health Organization recipe, like the kind of stuff the instructions are like how to make it in a carboy in a village in Africa if you're fighting the spread of Ebola, I mean, so it's not a friendly consumer product. It is an emergency. We need to sanitize a hand or a surface, and here's what we do. Yeah. But it certainly piqued our interest to think about what are other ways and other kinds of products we can make to serve our customers. Because I mean, our purpose for our brand, I mean, I got it here on my wall, is to help people live a better life through improved health. And that's a big focus. That's that lens, but what drives, what we do. So.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. And I again, I reached out to you because I thought what you guys did was really cool. And I love the idea that you just sent it out and that people were like, wait, what's the catch? Because I think that when you do good, that sort of thing does come back around. So kudos to you guys. I appreciate what you've done. And so you've answered my 3 questions. I give everybody a chance to ask me one question. Do you have one for me?
Sure. So you've been very active in your digital marketing and your video interviews. You've actually been doing this for a number of years. I guess, from a marketing professional standpoint, what should organizations like ours be doing where, normal rhythms are disrupted, right? So for instance, my sales team, most of my sales team is at home. They can't really visit stores. They can call stores. They can do pre-recorded videos. They can FaceTime or Zoom or Teams, video chat stores. They can do all these different things. They can email, but it's hard. Everybody's video chatting.
Yep.
So now video chat is like the new spam of phone calls or emails.
Right.
It's like it's a third thing to ignore. So from a practical, what should marketing and sales professionals be doing to combat sort of the Zoomification of things?
No, it's a great question. And I think that many of us are living through this, they call it the new normal or whatever you want to call it. And one of the things I say all the time is anybody who tells you I know exactly how to handle what to do during this pandemic is they're wanting to sell you something, right? Because none of us has lived through this. So I feel a little disingenuous now, but what I will say is I'll tell you what we've been doing. How about that? Sure. And so one of the things that we've done is we said the same thing, man. It feels a little tone deaf for us to be going out and making hardcore sales calls in the middle of this. So what we looked at is going, okay, those pieces of content that really truly provide value, those are the things we're going to focus on. And so we looked at, okay, what are the questions that our customers are asking all the time that we want to create a blog, a video, podcast, or something around answering their question, providing them value. I think one of the things that we do as sales and marketing people, and I'm guilty of this, is we look at it through our lens, right? Like, how does this serve me? And I think this is the perfect time to flip that and go, how can I create something that serves them? And it's funny because I pitch that idea of giving first all the time. Provide value through content, provide value through products like we do. And what you guys did in the hand sanitizer piece is a perfect example of giving first, right? You just provided value with not looking for anything in return. And when you do that, I think it builds integrity and trust with your customers and your prospects. But you can do that through content too, right? But it has to be the same thing. I'm just going to provide you value. I'm not going to sneak in a sales pitch on the back end. Because if I provide you value over and over and over again, when you need us, you'll call us because we've built that. And so that's what we're trying to do. We've created marketing courses for free. We've done blogs and videos, all in the idea of going, okay, we want to provide you value. And then, to be honest with you, as we come out of it, now I'm going to sell. But I'm not going to sell like saying I'm providing value. When I go to sell, I'm going to sell. Like, I'm not going to try and confuse anybody. I'm going to be really clear. And I think that's one of the things where I see people make mistakes from my perspective. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I mean, I think some of the stuff that we've done that I think has some similarities to that is, our field sales reps. So for instance, I have one that lives in Tampa, and she is obviously, given all that's going on, she doesn't want to visit accounts in Miami or Jacksonville. Right? That's a long way away from her home. Normally she would, take a week and go up there and get stuff done and whatnot. But, she is, or my rep in Long Island is, okay, well, I don't want to go all the way to Philly and do overnights, but I'll get out to my local stores, to the stuff that's close to my house. And what we told them is, just show up at the store and help.
Right.
So stock shelves, merchandise stuff,
be a partner, do
replenishment for the protein category, the stuff we're not in, just whatever the store needs, help check out customers, help customers find stuff, just go work the floor. And the customer sees you do that, they'll give you an order at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, you might actually learn a need that they have that you didn't know. So I love that. So Sam, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're busy right now. We'll have to do it again sometime. Okay.
Yeah, it's been lots of fun.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.